And we are back late night for Husky Huddle. I'm your host, the best podcast host, Steve Cully. And he's just saying yes to greatness. Coach Schumann, freshly shaved, looking a years younger.
Years younger. What a guy.
Try to be nice. They had the big fundraising golf tournament today in Greenwich. Hopefully they raised some big bucks for our Yukon Huskies. And there is actually quite a bit of content out on Store Central.
Oh, really?
Yeah. About Joe Figiano. Joe Figiano. The first article, Joe Figiano is back again. That's a nice take on it. And it's basically saying that he had a job. He's the incumbent for the first time ever, and looking to build off the 9-win campaign because he primarily led them to all the wins. I don't think trying to think of the only losses he had. Syracuse and maybe Duke were the only losses he played a part in. But again, that the comment the writer says, the Husks had never had a QB with a pedigree like Evers, like Nick Evers. Well, that's just a slap in the face. But his time on the field was injury-ridden and instant. So how can you say that he had some sort of magnetic pedigree, some special pedigree? I didn't see any special, spectacular pedigree played. I'm sorry, Mike Burton, but I didn't. I saw a guy that hurt us offensively more than he helped us. And I do understand Joe Figiano. He did only have 20 touchdown passes, and 5 of them came against Merrimack. But, ever following week against Buffalo, he gets injured again in the second quarter, and that was a concussion. That held him at. It was the wildest finish ever. He started against Temple, and that was when they had the goal line stand to win the game, but and we returned it for a touchdown. The closing seconds of the game, it was wild. I remember being in the box with Burton and everyone going nuts. But I mean, it was a brutal game. But Joe Figiano, I had no idea he went to Maine as a walk-on in 2019. Did you know that?
What's that?
Joe Figiano.
He was a walk-on at Maine?
Went to, he was a walk-on, yeah.
I didn't know that.
He started as a walk-on. Yeah.
Wow.
And then he got a partial scholarship. They put him on a partial, and then he eventually earned a full. He had been on a full scholarship, and he got thrown into the fire at Maine. He played as a true freshman, and he had 6 starts, and he threw 17 touchdowns in 6 starts. But he was a walk-on. Then he worked his way up to a backup, got a partial scholarship, got put on full scholarship from there. and that was in 2019. 2020 started, but Maine struggled. And COVID-19 obviously affected. He was after that. He was only 2-9 as a record, I believe, in 2021. 2,250 yards, 15 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. And that's when he transferred to UConn for 2022. And I didn't even know this. It was because his former offensive coordinator and head coach, Nick Charlton, came to UConn. And he competed for the starting job against Tyquan Robertson. That's when he won the head job, and he had started, but he got hurt. He had a bad shoulder injury. So they really weren't like when they brought Evers in last year, they really weren't expecting much out of Joe Fagiano because he was coming off a shoulder injury. So he himself basically did not think he was going to be an FBS football starter. And last year, I mean, he didn't throw coming off a surgery going into 2024. Couldn't throw for 6 months as he was rehabbing, and he didn't do anything in the spring. And he didn't do much in camp. But as we saw, based on the roster of quarterbacks, they didn't have much. So he was the only one with experience. So he was the backup, and he made them. They every time they tried to go back to Evers, he would get hurt or whatever, and Joe would make the most of all of his opportunities. And that's what I give him a lot of credit for. And although it is, I do laugh that it is his 8th year. He has leadership, as he should. He's like 25, but he won over his teammates with his toughness, with his leadership. He's a guy that doesn't make mistakes, and I really believe with him leading the charge this year without any quarterback controversy, without having to look over his shoulder at Evers, I think, and especially with the schedule they have, they're going to have a lot of success. And they're starting training camp tomorrow, actually. So that's crazy. I'm going out there
tomorrow, July 29th.
Unless I misunderstood Coach Baylock, because I have to go.
Why do you have sunglasses on?
Because it's a tribute to Hulk Hogan.
Ah, my man.
Yeah,
I know.
I've been in mourning for Hulk Hogan.
Were you in mourning?
I've been in mourning. Yes, I've been in mourning.
I was shocked.
I was not shocked because they were trying to cover up. They were trying to cover up the severity of his condition. He had neck surgery. He had up to 20 backs. He had like 20 back surgeries. He had a really bad back. He had neck surgery, and there were reports that he was in a coma. He was in really bad health, but his camp always denied it. They were posting pictures actively on all his social media, but the pictures had been older. And, he had a new wife. He was on his third wife, I think, third or fourth wife.
Yeah, fourth wife, I think it was.
So, yeah, I mean, and I had an argument with my uncle about this because they were trying to say the steroids played a part in it, and I don't believe that.
You don't believe that? What? Why don't you believe that?
Because he had congenital heart failure. I mean, he had fluid around his heart, and he died from a heart attack. Steroid abuse would cause like liver failure.
Okay.
Like it did with superstar Billy Graham. It would cause like an enlarged heart, something like that. The issues with his back had nothing to do with steroids. It had to do with some of the moves that he did. And the issue with his heart failing was congenital heart failure. I don't think it had anything to do with steroids. Now, obviously, nobody knows the long-term effect of steroids. And I'm obviously going to be biased because I'm a Hulk Hogan diehard. But no, I don't think it was related. It was bad timing. I mean, he just got married. His son got married. He opened a new sports bar, and he had a lot going on. But his family was in not the best shape. His daughter, Brooke, had stopped talking to him for a while. She kind of cut him off. His son, Nick, was arrested in October for a DUI, which was awful because he also was the one in 2007 got into an accident. His best friend, a vegetable, John Graziano. So him getting the DUI was bad, but Nick was doing well. He just got married. He has a career as a DJ. So it's just, he was just 71 years old. Like Ric Flair has done much worse to his body, and he's 70. I never thought that Flair would outlive Hogan, but that's disappointing to see.
Is the choppiness you or me?
And what?
Is the choppiness me or you?
Did you say choppy?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't see choppiness.
Oh.
I mean, it sounds fine to me. Why? That sounds choppy?
Yeah, yours is delayed for some reason, but
okay. Well.
But so Hogan, yeah, so that's interesting. Is that for me or you got? Oh, thank you. Make sure you hydrate yourself. You did a lot. Can you please do that and get yourself put the what do you call it in there? You gotta do that. Otherwise, you're not gonna feel well. It's football practice. You gotta take care of your body, dude.
Are we sure the UConn
your calves again?
Are we sure the UConn coaching staff feels the same way about starting Figiano? I think they do, because he wins games. That's the bottom line. Evers didn't win games. Evers didn't perform well.
They don't got a choice.
Well, they do, because they're paying Evers, and the expectations.
No, I'm saying Evers is not yet there, or wasn't last year. What's called the best guy? And
I think Joe is for sure. I agree with you 100%. I think he is by far the best choice, and I don't think I agree with you. I don't think there's another option right now that's productive. So they did some of the position group breakdowns, which is good to see. They're at least producing some more content on Stores Central. So this was the one I wanted to see, the wide receivers. So obviously Skylar Bell's the guy. He is the difference maker. He's the bigger, tall receiver. But we talked about tight end Lewis Hansen. We love Hansen. He had 24 catches for 236 yards. And the majority of it came on the second half of the season when they started using him. I think he is a dynamic athlete. Like, he's a completely different player than the guy they had been starting, Alex Hunnig, who's more of a blocker. He can't really, he doesn't run routes. He had 6 catches for 59 yards. But, Hansen, he's 6'5", 240. Hunnig is 6'7", 270. So that's crazy. And they have the NC State transfer, who I think is going to be a surprise. Juice Vereen, his nickname's Juice. And then my guy also is Michael Burton Jr. I just love that group. I just love that group. I think it gives them so much flexibility. And we had Joe Villapiano on, and we all talked about it. The receiver position, the problem is Sheffield graduated. Gathings transferred to Buffalo. Josiah Gathings, he was the 3rd leading receiver. But the guy that I think will do well is Shamar Porter. He didn't play much last year, but he had a good spring. He was someone they highlighted in the spring. I think hopefully he can be the number 2. The other guy that I liked and heard a lot about from the spring was the transfer from Arizona. They got Romello Murphy. I think he's another guy who could also contend for that Z spot as opposed to the X, which is Skylar Bell. And then they brought in a lot of transfers. They brought in, we read about him, Chris Parker, the one from Central Michigan. Over the summer, they brought in a USF transfer, Naeem Simmons. This is the guy also that they had high hopes for, transfer from Rice, Ty Chicarino Bowman. They were very productive at their last schools, USF and Rice. Parker played pretty well at Central Michigan, and Simmons played well. And he started his career at Wagner. Man, it's just amazing to see 3-time transfers. The Simmons kid, Naeem Simmons, ended up at USF, but he started at Wagner, then went to USF. He had 39 catches, 637 yards last year, and he had a school record 272 yards in one game. And then he sat, this is what's crazy, he sat out all of 2023. Then he transferred to Rice, where he didn't do much, and then he comes to us. So it's crazy how long these careers are. They were talking about the Saints quarterback, the 2nd round pick, Tyler Slough. He's a rookie, 26 years old. He's 26 years old as a rookie, and he's 2 years older than Spencer Rattler, who they drafted 2 years ago in the 4th round. But that just amazes me that guys are staying in college that long. So this is going to be like his 6th year. And especially if they win the legislation where they're trying to get 5 years of eligibility. 5 years, no red shirt, you can play all 5 years. Because they're saying that the 5th year, we talked about, the 5th year is your earning power. So,
did you see Trump's so he's going to ban booster funded pay for play deals. So
What?
He had an executive order.
He put an executive order in?
Yeah. So it's titled Saving College Sports, which directs federal agencies to overhaul how NIL payments and scholarships are handled and to protect women's and non-revenue sports.
That's what we talked about, because it was going to screw everything up if there wasn't any.
The July order bans third-party NIL payments that are really recruiting inducements while still allowing fair market value endorsements. The White House says that this is necessary because some boosters and NIL collectives have turned NIL opportunities into de facto salaries, fueling bidding wars for talent.
So,
He's using preserve and expand women's sports. Athletic departments must preserve and expand scholarships in women's and non-revenue sports. It's hilarious that they say that Trump is misogynist. Meanwhile, he does more for women's athletics and women's sports than anybody else. Schools with more than $125 million in athletic revenue must increase scholarship opportunities for non-revenue sports, while those above $50 million must at least maintain current scholarship levels.
Because that's what we had talked about before, that because of this, schools were going to end up cutting the non-revenue sports or not put money into it. So he's basically saying you can't do that. You have to keep the scholarships or increase scholarships in the non-revenue sport. But
correct.
It didn't say anything particular about restricting NIL money. It just said something about $125 million or more.
No, it can't be pay for play. So it has to be fair market endorsements, meaning if I'm paying you to be a Gatorade sponsor,
right?
It would have to be fair market for what type of level of player you are, endorser you are.
Oh, okay. So it's basically
I couldn't give you $50 million to sponsor Gatorade if you're really not worth $50 million to induce you to come to my school. Meaning, you know what I'm saying? You can't do it.
Yeah. So like you can't, basically it's going to be tough to promise anything to incoming freshmen then, right?
Yes.
Because you don't know what their market value is.
Correct.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's good that he passed that. I mean, I know that's what Charlie Baker, the NCAA commissioner, was looking for, because now with the, they're getting school payments as well with the NIL on top of it. So this is going to restrict some of the NIL payments. So that hurts, like a school we talked about, SMU, who gave up 9 years of television revenue to join the ACC, and he immediately raised $100 million,
right,
in NIL money. Wow. So that definitely will change the landscape. But the fair market value, I mean, I don't know how that's going to be determined. If you're a star, if you're Arch Manning, I mean, are you? Who tells you you're not worth $10 million a year if Gatorade wants to sponsor you? That's the only thing. How do you determine?
I don't know how you determine that. I don't.
But as long, I agree with him. As long as it's not restricting women's sports. That was the biggest concern that a lot of people had, because female athletes were not going to receive the same compensation with NIL as male athletes. Only if you're a Paige Beckers or Caitlin Clark, someone special like that.
Right.
Otherwise, wow, that's huge, because I know they grandfathered in because teams were supposed to move to 90 roster spots, and all 90 players were supposed to be scholarship players.
Right.
So they weren't, or they could have partials or whatever, but the roster had to be 90. And right now, there's 85 scholarship players. So that was supposed to go up to 90, but they grandfathered it in because walk-ons had either been starting to get cut or leaving school. But that's huge. That's huge. I mean, that helps. That helps UConn. The other big story they were talking about is the offensive line and the position battles. They're really high on Tai Chan, the Notre Dame guy.
Yeah, he's huge.
Basically because it's unheard of from what they're saying. It's almost unheard of in this transfer portal era where a Power 4 offensive lineman will come to a school like UConn,
right,
and reportedly receive hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I mean, we had very good linemen last year. We had the two guys that are in NFL camps. Chase Lunt was drafted by the Bills. Valentin Sen went to Arizona. Christian Hayes got drafted in the CFL. But they have a lot of good guys coming back. And the guy that I like.
Oh, God. Sorry.
No, I know. We got a transfer from Syracuse, Jaden Bass.
Yeah.
We got the Maryland transfer, Tamarius Jones, I think his name was. Then Tai Chan, and see who else. Yeah, Chan, they're expecting him to start at tackle.
Okay.
And then, yeah, because I didn't even know he was from Lowell, Mass. Wow. Oh, that's right. He went to the Lawrence Academy.
Yeah.
And then the interior, the center position, they're saying the Syracuse transfer, Wes Ho, will probably win the center spot, and he's probably the best guy.
Wes Ho.
Yeah, Wes Ho, Hoeh. And, he played well against good ACC competition. Maryland transfer, the Tamarius Walker. That's the guy I like. UConn recruited him out of high school, and he played in 212 snaps last year for Maryland and he played against UConn, and he's a guard, which is good. I think that's a perfect spot for him. He's the guy that's shorter. He's the only lineman, which I was telling you, on the roster that's under like 6'5". All of their linemen are monsters. Yeah. So they also have a Boise State transfer, Kyle Juergens, who they're looking at playing at the other guard. He played just 108 snaps last year. But he was one of the top rated transfers that the Huskies that we had on our list. And they have a lot of depth on the roster, but guys who haven't played. Torian Johnson, 6'8", 330. He's coming in as a true freshman. And Brady Wayburn is another guy who's played at guard. He got hurt last year. So there's some really good depth, and there's some big freaking monsters at that position. And I think it's going to be transfers across the board that play, but they're going to, having Tai Chan on the outside, I think is good. I'd love to see Tamarius Walker play. The Ho kid, the transfer from Syracuse, will play at center. Hopefully Walker plays at one guard. and the Boise State kid plays at the other guard. And then they have a lot of depth. I mean, I'm pretty sure they have 16 guys. So they're solid there. I just, with the quarterback group, again, I just worry about the depth because, as we talked about, there's only 4 or 5 with Evers. Yeah, they have Evers. They have Farrar, the guy, the Virginia State player of the year that they brought in. And it was tough that they lost Cole Welliver, the big dude, the 6'7" kid. And they have Tucker McDonald, who played last year a little bit, but he got hurt. So that's the only thing that scares me. They got to keep Figiano upright, athletic guy, but he can maneuver within the pocket. But I mean,
Steve? Hello? Hello?
Joe Figiano and Evers combined.
Yo, your internet is bad, dude.
My internet is still bad.
It's bad.
Okay, let me change.
You're cutting in and out.
Hold on. Is that any better? You see me now? Okay.
Still cutting in and out.
I'm still cutting in and out. Okay. Let me try it. Okay. Is that better?
Yeah, guys. What are you I don't know. It's not. It's still a little choppy. What's wrong with your internet?
It went off this morning, and they came over and fixed it. Okay.
I started doing box jumps again.
What would possess you to do box jumps?
Just because I need to be an athlete again.
Chris D. Wow, what a late show. Cully, get over it. The transfer portal is here to stay, and we have benefited from it. Yes, you are right. And yes, Coach Schumann does have a piano behind him. Chris D says Trump's thing is not changing shit. The Big Ten and the SEC are going to 20 teams and will break away. Meanwhile, the Zanato douche on Big East Energy wants to ask the AD of the year, David Benedict, about about it when they have him on.
Donato.
Big East Energy.
Big East Energy. Big Energy.
He's right. He's right. The Big East Energy. I'm not complaining about the transfer portal. I'm happy about the transfer portal. We got good transfers. We can't. I've seen the light. We cannot take freshmen. And after talking with Julius Williams, I get it now. Julius said that all the coaches that he works with, they don't want they want guys ready-made, ready to go. And that's it. They can't take freshmen.
Yep.
There's no way to do it that way. So you're taking 40 different kids a year, and that's why they're adding on to the spring practice, and that's why they can work out as much as they can in the summer with the coaches. I just think, it's going to have to go to contracts, and they're really employees. When you're spending that much time together and you're making them do all that, and a lot of the NIL contracts now are stipulating they're trying, Dave, to not get guys to opt out of bowl games or opt out of postseason play.
Good luck.
Well, that's what the NIL contracts are doing. They're saying that you have to stay for this amount of time from this date until this date, and if you don't, you have to pay back the money that's been given to you. That's what the contracts are starting to state. And if they're that strict, then you got to call them employees.
Yeah. Well, that's what Trump's also talking about too, is that that they are,
Yeah, they are. For how much you're requiring them, the time they have to put in, and staying all summer, and if they're getting paid, they have contracts, they're employees.
Yep.
They got to have the same rights, and they got to have, they should have a players union to try to negotiate this to get fair value for everyone. Because they're talking about the running back position being as great as it was. Really one of the top backs we had was Darrell Robinson, and he transferred to Auburn. And he was one of the key losses that we had. Him and Josiah Gathings and the quarterbacks. We had 3 quarterbacks that transferred.
Yeah.
That were all freshmen. So I talked to Coach Baylock. He said that they're doing some sort of barbecue tomorrow, and then camp will begin. And it's a different type of schedule because I think it's 28 days before the first game. The first game is August 30th. So it's that week 0 technically. It's that week 0 against Central. And then defensively, I think they're going to be a force. Coach Brock does a great job.
I think defensively they're going to be tough.
With the 3-5, they got a lot of good transfers coming in there as well. But it's just amazing to me because they acted so fast right after the season to bring these guys in and get everyone ready to go. You're having visits right between November and the bowl game, and then after the bowl game, and the portal ends, and now they're finding loopholes around the portal, like we talked about with the BYU quarterback who just unenrolled and enrolled in another school. So I'm just anxious to see. I hope that they keep up with content. Store Central you have to pay for. I'm anxious to see if they at least do it on UConnHuskies.com. because that's the biggest thing they need. Now that they have the Husky Athletic Fund that they're trying to donate to. 3 Huskies named to the Shrine Bowl 1000. Wow. Already. Okay. Yeah, no. See, that's the thing. UConnHuskies.com hasn't been updated since June for football, other than the Shrine thing. So they're trying to drive people to Store Central, which is fine. But I still don't. I mean, for $12 a month for what you get, I just don't see it.
Right.
I mean, they do have recruiting news, which we talked about. That hasn't been updated in a month. But it's got men's basketball. Yeah, men's basketball is updated every freaking 3 days. Women's basketball has been, I mean, mostly covering Paige Beckers and the UConn girls in the WNBA. But I wonder what's on the premium feed. What do they give you? They just give you the same thing. They give you the same news.
All right. Well, this was fun. Let's move on to Rebel Republic.
All right. Yeah. So camp's starting. We'll see what happens, and we'll go from there. So for Coach Schumann, I'm Steve Cully, the best podcast host in the universe. Remember, when life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade. Take 2 oranges, throw them back at life.
UConn is so